Hello, people. Greetings as we jump into another overreaction show, another back on Sunday this week because schedule's starting to kind of get back to normal. Appreciate everybody for jumping on tonight and those watching later. It's been an interesting week on the flats. I think when they get 11 commits. Since the portal's open now.
The Oklahoma State edge was number 12.
Was he 12? Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, it's a little bit hectic for all of us. I did y'all a solid and traveled this weekend to make sure that things are that there was an increased probability of some quality commitment action. I'll share this real quick. This is where Georgia Tech sits right now in the transfer portal rankings at 32 as of today. So that's pretty good.
I think Jordan Walker's still not listed on there for some reason. I don't know.
Is he not? Let me double check that. You guys can see all the fun back end stuff here for a second.
So that might number 12 might bump him up a couple.
Oh yeah, give me a minute to fix this, and we'll come back to that. So basically, we've all been just swimming in the portal. I was talking to USF hired a new football coach, Brian Hartline, and I missed my opportunity to connect with him. So we finally got on the phone on Saturday before the Tech men's basketball game, and I was talking to him. I talked to some other coaches, and everybody's just bailing water right now. It's an interesting thing, kind of tracking all this stuff and seeing who all is going where and all of that. I'm double checking what Alex asked me about.
And then they've got coaches convention starting tomorrow, right? So it'll be portal straight to coaches convention and back to portal.
Yeah, you're right. Jordan Walker is not on here. Let me fix that. So yeah, they had to actually put in a dead period to make it even remotely possible for them to have the coaches convention. I think next year, I think Terrence Banks, the high school coach, was saying that that it's moving. Oh, so Jordan's on here. He's just not ranked for some reason, so I'll get that taken care of. I don't know why he didn't show up, but I will make a note of that and get it done.
I know there's 8 Jordan Walkers in the back end of all the Jordan Walkers that have ever been on 3 profiles. So
yeah, you have to kind of dig around.
Yeah, let's scroll down a little bit to get to him.
I'm trying to remember. I want to do this before I forget, so just bear with me for a second, guys. Alex, I guess kind of what have been your impressions? You've actually talked to a lot of these kids, so kind of what's been the feedback you've been getting from them so far?
I've talked to as many that wants to talk to me now.
Yeah, I mean that's a little bit of a tricky bit.
I mean, Brent Key's selling a pretty good vision from what I've heard from the kids that have visited during the portal cycle, and the offensive linemen that they've gotten they were kind of blown away by Mogridge and Key and kind of what they were told. And I know the physical toughness thing has been talked about, but I think they're kind of doubling down on that with Mogridge now back leading the offensive line. I think he's got some guys believing in it. So I don't think they're done on the offensive line either in the portal. I think they'll get at least one more. And then defensive line, they knew that they needed it going in, so they've been plugging away, getting some good defensive tackles. They've got the 2 edges that committed last night I think they're both really good players, potential to take another step forward. The Carter kid from Alabama, if he would have I think he would have probably been a starter next year or played a lot more at Alabama if he stuck around. But that's the game now. So
They have they're having a lot of issues with their portal. Like Alabama's been interesting to watch. That one's been a little bit of some melting going on. And then the other one that's been real interesting is Texas. They've been on fire, I think, because of what A&M and Texas Tech have done. They were not thrilled with not making the playoffs, and they flipped Hollywood, Smothers, and they've like been just kind of on a roll. I think then they get Coleman today too, Cam Coleman.
They got Coleman, Smothers flipped from Alabama. I think that Arizona State running back they committed them. He's committed before Smothers is, so they've got those two guys unless one of them changes their mind again, which is
Their
possible.
whole running back room went in the portal. That was the other weird thing, like right before their bowl game. So, we're not talking about Colorado, but all right, let's get into the question. Why are we not interested in Cam McHale from Colorado? Cam Michael, or whatever, I forget how he says it. He doesn't necessarily fit what they're looking for right now, I guess. Like, just because you recruited someone out of high school doesn't mean their value is the same to you now, later. And if he's not like high up on the board or whatever, then they're not going to recruit him right now. It keeps being a weird thing. Like, I don't know. It's one of those things that I have to remind people about. The way someone's valued changes, depending on also kind of what you hear about them or whatever their situation was or how they handled themselves as recruits or any of those things. So there's some guys that they'll circle around on immediately and go get, and there's some guys they won't. And right now he's not one of them. So we've stayed in touch with him. He just hasn't heard from Tech yet. I don't know if he will. Yeah, Alex would like this too. My omnipotence is not a strong suit of mine, apparently. Both gambling, if you checked our picks this year, Alex had a bounce back year after a terrible 2024.
I've kind of fallen down on my job. I've got to total all those bowl picks up.
I guess we got to pick the championship game too, don't we?
Yeah, since we got an ACC team, the mighty ACC, rolling into the championship.
All right, yeah. So if you want to, if you're not subscribed to Jackets Online, you should be. One of the things that came up today from talking to an industry source was that Georgia Tech's involved with Fernando Mendoza's brother, Alfredo.
Alberto.
I was making a joke. He's not from the joke, man. Anyways, the younger Mendoza brother. And that's like a Godfather joke. Like, Fredo, whatever. All right, so trying to make a joke there. The younger brother, they recruited on top of him and got the TCU quarterback. Signetti's pretty like hardcore. It's like, this is what I'm doing. This is who I think gives us the best chance to win. So like, the thought is that he's going to go in the portal. This person had heard rumblings that Georgia Tech would be the likely destination if it were to happen. I shared that. What are my thoughts on him? I don't know that he was a package deal there. I don't really know the backstory at all. I found out about all this today. So like, I have not done much digging. I'll hit up a buddy who covers them and see if I can find out what's going on. So I'm still figuring it out. On the quarterback, could Knowles or Adamson be ready to lead an ACC championship caliber team in 2026? I mean, that's a big ask of a first-time starting quarterback. But if you were to look on paper, or even just look at how Haynes King played in his first year at Tech, he was not that level. He leveled himself up a little bit last year and then majorly leveled himself up this year. Depends on how good the defense is, right? Like, that's what's going to come down to with the young quarterback. We'll see how good those guys are if it ends up being one of them. My money would probably be on Grady to win the job. I think he's more of a complete package. And I really like Graham Knowles, but I think Grady has a little bit of swag to him, though, like the a little bit of the it factor you like at a quarterback spot. I had a chance to watch both of them in high school. I saw Graham at camps and stuff. I didn't see him play in high school, but I watched Grady play in high school in his last high school game actually.
all the way.
And we watched him in the spring a little bit. I mean, no, not he wasn't in the spring. Watched him a little bit in fall camp, and he looked good there. I mean, we haven't seen much of him since then because he's been on the scout team basically since then. So that's not really what's going on. Oh, Justice Haynes question. Here we go. Yeah, I mean, if you can get, I think he's an elite back. I agree with you. I watched him at Alabama, obviously closely at the time. I had the Alabama side, was watching most of their games closely. Alex is a closet Alabama fan. He's watched him play. Has a lot of Alabamians in his lineage, and so they watch them play too. And he was a really dynamic guy. It was hard to keep him off the field at Alabama, and injuries have really been the only thing that have limited him a little bit. And he was great this year for Michigan when he was healthy. He's always been really productive. I think if you have an opportunity to add a guy like that, you do it. Even as a 1-2 punch with Malachi, like that seems great to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I think I saw him play. I believe it was his junior year at Blessed Trinity, before he went to Buford for senior year. But he's a guy that he jumps out as he's a big play guy at any point. Jamal didn't have the year that we thought he was going to have this year, and I think he's Justice Haynes is like a little bit bigger, but he's still shifty, and he's really a total package. Like he's physical, he can make you miss. He's a big play waiting to happen. I think he'd be a huge addition. And Hosley's just consistent. He showed that this past year. So those two, and then the young guys behind them. I mean
they really like Shane Marshall a lot.
Yeah.
And they and Chad Alexander was really good 2 years or a year ago, and JP can play, and yeah, they got some young guys they like. And
Chad Alexander's the little bit he's played over the last 2 years, he showed he's capable of making plays. There was a play this past year where they ran him out of the backfield, he had a huge touchdown catch that was just a little bit overthrown. He's a serviceable running back too, so he gets kind of forgotten about. But if you can get more depth and talent at a position like running back, because you're going to need a lot of them during the season with the injuries and everything, you can keep adding to that position.
On to Jason Semore, who's was one of my favorite of the Jeff Collins era guys, Coach Boogie. Jason's a great dude, great coach. Brent wanted to keep him on staff. What kind of happened is he had an opportunity to go kind of level himself up at Marshall. Brent wanted him to get some more seasoning away from this sort of world of what had been with Jeff Collins and that defense and all that stuff. And he almost came back when they hired Santucci. He was a finalist for the job then. The thought was, what I heard was that they just kind of wanted him to get some more experience calling plays. And then this last time around, the timing just didn't work. I think had Santucci left now instead of when he did later in the cycle, because he left at the end of January, maybe it would have aligned then to give Jason a shot to be the DC at that point. They had gone on to Southern Miss at that point, and he had kind of his hands full. And the timing of that didn't really work out too well. But Jason's super excited. I got a message from him last night. He's always been a good dude. I think he's a really good ball coach. Everyone I know that knows Jason really likes him. These are people that don't like Brent necessarily or don't like Jeff or whoever, but every one of them talks really well about Jason Semore and his coaching abilities, and I think he will be an upgrade there. That whole situation was one of the weirdest things I've ever come across. And kudos to Texas for kind of taking away what Tech fans were really unhappy with Blake Gideon. They did y'all a solid, man, because Brown was prepared to go into year 2 with them and had a plan of what they were going to do, and then Texas made a second play for him. The first one didn't work, which is the one I reported about, and then the second play, Brent. At that point, you kind of just let the guy go, anyways. Like if he's even considering it at that point, you got to let him go, and I think that's kind of how this played out.
I don't know much about him. I didn't watch a whole lot of Southern Miss or Marshall the 2 years before that, but just seeing those turnover numbers, like Georgia Tech did not force turnovers this year, and that was a huge problem.
What was the final? Do you remember where they were in the final thing? The
I don't know
takeaways.
what the rankings were, but they had 5 fumble recoveries and 4 interceptions for the season, which is almost like you would think you would.
Unfathomable. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think you would like the ball would bounce your way 2 or 3 other times, but it was a huge problem. And I think I mean people have shown the stats of where Southern Miss was like total defense and all that kind of stuff. But if you force 26 turnovers like he did last year, that it don't totally make up for all the bad yardage, but it's a kind of a game changer. Like it makes a difference in a game. So the more turnovers, the better. They've got to turn that category around. They can't get much worse. I would I would hope. Let me knock on this here, but
No, bar's pretty low. I mean, that NC State game is still the gold standard for the worst defensive game I've ever watched, and then the Boston College one wasn't far behind that. So we'll see what happens. I mean, people I think are very focused on what happened at Southern Miss. Southern Miss was one of the 3 worst football teams they walked into in the 2023 season. So Charles Huff and them, they were at Marshall. They won the conference. There was like a dispute with the AD and the coach, and his contract was up. So he left to go to Southern Miss. They had to rebuild a program there. And Jason's defense wasn't great, but they won games. Like that's part of it too. You got to be able to win games, and they were able to figure it out enough to win games with, let's face it, no budget, no players, and whatever portal guys they could grab. So I think that it's understood. I think Brent has a pretty good idea of what he wants now. I think he'd rather die attacking than falling back and trying to defend in the red zone or whatever they were doing with Blake. And it's interesting it'll be interesting to see like how different, like just think about how different like Kyle Eifert and EJ Lightsey played in 2024 with Tyler Santucci, who's a good linebackers coach, really detail oriented, focused guy, versus what they did this season with Coach Eubanks and Blake Gideon as the DC. It's night and day, and that's the thing you can't like. It's sometimes it's Jimmy's and Joe's, but sometimes it's X's and O's, man. And like they either had no confidence in the plan, didn't understand it, or couldn't get positioned. The one thing that Brent's kind of harped on was that they were having trouble getting lined up and getting in the right gaps, and that comes down to some core understanding. So be more aggressive. And there's a fine line between some of the crazy stuff that Jeff was doing and being too on the other end of it, Blake, where you're too passive. There's a middle ground in there that they got to find. I think Jason will figure that out. I'm kind of anxious. I might go watch some Marshall 2024 cuts to kind of get an idea.
I don't want to like harp on Gideon and Eubanks like more than we already have, but I texted Kelly when I did that review of the linebackers last week, and I looked at the stats. I texted Kelly immediately, guess how many tackles for loss Kyle Eifert and EJ Lightsey had, because it stunned me when I read it. I knew that it wasn't a lot, but when I read that they had 3 combined tackles for loss, the 2 linebackers that led the team in tackles, that was crazy. Like
that they blitz sometimes too. Like it wasn't like they played
yeah.
back all the time. Like they brought them in run blitz, they brought them in whatever. Like So yeah, there you go. 119th out of 136 teams in turnovers per game. Sounds about right.
So I guess there is room to go down, but it would take a lot of work. Hopefully not.
Will Jason Semore bring any guys? They have one spot as of now that would be an on the field coach, maybe a linebackers coach. I don't know what he's going to do there. It'll be interesting to see if they bring in a recruiter or if they get more of a positional guy. I don't know. The Seymour stuff just got done in the last few days, so that's what's going on there. We'll see, I guess, what happens.
The Ja'Cory Thomas thing, I hadn't heard.
He's gone like dead silent to everybody.
Yeah,
It's not just us or others. He's quiet with he was talking at first, and then he kind of went into ghost mode after he started taking visits.
I did see Arkansas got a receiver commit from someone today, so maybe that might factor into his decision a little bit. But yeah, it's been lack of information.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a whole cycle of people, even like on our ends and the back ends, hitting each other, trying to find out what's going on. Like, I had a couple of Florida State guys ask me about Noah Carter yesterday, right before he committed to Tech, and like they had felt good, like they were getting him, and I wasn't really sure. We hadn't heard anything, and yeah, so I know that Ja'Cory Vandy felt good about it, but he's taken like 3 visits since the guy predicted him, and the guy was predicting, like our Vandy guy was talking something about how he like started following some guys on Instagram from Vanderbilt, and that made them think that he was going there. So on Ja'Cory Thomas, like if you're getting into that far into the weeds, man, like I don't think you probably lay back on the prediction, like because that could mean anything. Like hell, those guys could go in the portal. You never know. Like, um, I think there's going to be other receivers. There's guys we haven't heard of. Like none of us had heard of Dean Patterson or Eric Rivers a year ago. Like at this time. So
I mean, there's still what 10 days left in the portal, so there's still guys that haven't went in yet that's going to go in. So
yeah, I mean, there's guys going in tonight all over the place. Oregon had like 8 guys going today. Oh, so you want to? All right. So Tyrus is asking a behind the scenes question here. So the portal thing, the agents generally will not talk to people like us, short of if you have a pre-existing relationship or worked something behind the scenes. There's a couple like JT Burns' agent and I have a very close mutual friend who he represented. So when all that went down, he hooked me up with JT. Like I talked to JT before he committed. I knew about it for like a week. Blah 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 blah. Those situations are a little more rare. Most of them talk to Pete Nakos, Zenitz, some to Pete Thamel, or Chris Hummer, or Steve Wilfong, or like Chad Simmons, or whatever. Like they're more interested in those guys because they're national guys. Like talking to me doesn't really necessarily do much for or Alex or Roddy at the UGA site or the War Chant guys or whatever. It doesn't really do much for you. So yeah. Have I met Pete Nakos? Yes, I have, and I'm actually buddies with Pete. He's a good dude. It seems like he's a little bit of an AI dude because he like literally has no life right now. He is just doing this all day long. Like Pete and I talk all day long, off and on, like with texts or on the phone. And it's been that way Pete and I have had an ongoing conversation since the day the college football season ended for Georgia, or the regular season ended for Georgia Tech. That has been an ongoing conversation. Well, actually, before that, I take that back. I've been talking to Pete regularly almost every other day, at least, since Georgia Tech was like 6-0 and like schools started sniffing around Brent. I do love Pete Nokos. Yes, the fake Pete Nokos. That one's a good one. So Hayes Fawcett is essentially what Hayes is he does graphics for people. So they will ask him ahead of time, hey, I need this graphic, and you got to tell him, and then so he's able to break news. That's essentially how that works. And some guys he has relationships with, I imagine, but I don't know him. I don't know he was a guy like there's all these different graphics guys. He was one that On3 like hooked up with. Joe Tipton was another one who was a basketball graphics guy that turned himself into a reporter. So there are a lot of different ways that this kind of can work. Hayes has been more of a just pushing graphics and driving engagement type of guy. I don't think I've ever met Hayes Fawcett.
I think he was
Most of
like
these guys have met.
he was like one of the first guys to just before On3 before he started working On3 he was just like a hey any recruit hit me up I can get you a graphic, and so he built on that to where he
Yeah,
is now.
there were a bunch of them. There were him. There was Tipton for basketball. There was 336 edits. Stizo, who Rivals ended up hiring at one point. There's the one that did the Ja'Cory Thomas that did the weird Justice Hayes one that seemed like Justice Haynes one that was bogus. Yeah, so it's weird. And sometimes these guys get bad information too. I don't. I'm not getting into whatever's going on with Bailey Stockton. Judging by how annoyed some people were that he left, I don't feel like he got pushed out. I think sometimes people overvalue their worth in the world of NIL and those type of things. Is there a beef between Isaiah Cadian and Tay Harris? No, Tay Harris is just lit, man. Tay Harris has a little bit of that Amari Harvey in him. For those of us who go to are lucky enough to go to practices, Amari Harvey would almost get in a fight every day with somebody on the team, like because he's chippy. Tay's got a little bit of that in him too, and Tay is like pissed that these guys left, and so he wants to show some people what's going on.
I don't he 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 posted the announcement of Isaiah like they're like not like in a bad way. Like he just posted like all former teammates like they've been posting the Peyton Joseph thing. Like
Oh yeah, if you go on
they're just happy.
Instagram,
Like
you'll see
they're
that.
happy
Yeah.
for their former teammates. They found another spot. Like that's just
But Tay did say he would like
yeah.
whatever.
Now that part is true. So when Tay will answer you if you ask him a question on Twitter, he will answer you. So yeah, he quickly responded to the request for somebody to lay a hit on Isaiah Canyon next year. So, yeah, Tay's that kind of guy. So that's what you need, though, competitors.
Dude, I don't like. I barely am on Instagram. You tell like I have a huge following on Twitter, and I have like a couple hundred people on Instagram because I'm just not into it. Like I just kind of look at it. I don't do engagement, so I don't know. I don't know what them kids be saying on the Instagram. I have to like ask my kid or something. I'd have to like go text my 15-year-old to find out what that means. I don't know. Or
And
I guess I could text Bailey and ask him or Aaron, but or Isaac or Luke or Harrison, but I don't know.
while we're on the follow thing, I don't want to sound like I'm taking up for anybody, or I don't know if I've ever even talked to Aaron's dad, but the whole thing last
you
week.
joined Aaron's dad's
Well,
fake Twitter account
well,
or
I don't
whatever it
know if
was.
it like Georgia Tech fans have just like gone with that, like it's a proven fact that was Aaron's dad with that. So, like
I have no idea.
yeah,
I
we
just
don't
think the idea that it was is more funny to me than
right.
if it's true or not.
So
And like,
before
does it really matter anymore about Philo's dad's murder? Like,
yeah, before
every
everyone go
so
ahead.
Alex, like I've been doing this whatever 20 years now. Like every single backup quarterback's dad, I don't give a crap who it is, thinks like their kid should be starting over the guy who's a starter. I mean, I've covered NFL quarterbacks at other schools. Like, it is without fail, like 80% of them have thought that their kid is better than the guy playing. If it's true, it's tremendous. It would not shock me either way. I'll give the guy the benefit of the doubt if he's claiming it's not him. I know he did to like some a mutual friend of ours. He was trying to get that mutual friend to go on Georgia Tech Twitter and defend him, and that mutual friend was not interested in doing that. Okay, so here we
I'm
go.
not saying it's not true. I'm just saying it's not 100% like
So he was following the dad, and then I'm following. Yeah, it's rough. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it could be like an uncle or a cousin or something that hears all this stuff too. You never know, man. Um, stuff goes on all over the place, even in high school. So like, don't. I just think it's funny that they found it after the fact. Like, that's the more. That would have been a lot more interesting had this been found like the middle of November or something when everyone was still here. That would have been a lot more entertaining for all of us.
I mean, heck, there were times during this season where we were like, well, maybe Philo needs to get a series. Like, I mean, it's
Oh my
crazy to
god, I got
say, but
like
yeah,
crucified on Twitter for suggesting that in the Colorado game, like by people. They were so mad. And then Russell got jumped like a couple weeks later when I forget what game it was, maybe Wake or something. They were struggling, and he's like, "Oh, I'd put in," and like they just the same dudes like ganged up on him. And it's not like I don't. It had nothing to do with me not liking Haynes King or whatever. Sometimes you change things up to just spark things. But yes, Michael, the you put me in the denim thing. Yeah, I did see the Zach Gibson thing where the fans he made some comment on one of the guys who left, and then like the fans just came out of the woodwork to remind him of how poorly he played in several games. He now to Zach's credit, he managed to like help get them to 500 with the play at North Carolina and help Brent Key get the interim job, but that was about it. Like he's and then by the way, another situation where I think a parent was very adamant their kid should be playing more than he was. I've not heard anything about Quincy Porter. I remember I looked it up today and didn't. It sounded like other teams were there more involved. On the Alabama players coming here, Kobe Jones, Kyle Pope both worked there. Kobe knows most of those kids. Like Mbakwe was like real tight with Kobe. That was a connection there. Um, I don't know about Noah Carter or what's going on. Another D tackle off the board that I was monitoring, Kendrick Billingly Jones to Alabama.
I know that Mbakwe came out and said that he knew Key like from the same area, and like that was a thing for him. So they did
Well,
have a
kids
little
who are from
connection.
Alabama, he
Right.
definitely has a connection with too. Like,
Yeah.
there's definitely he's definitely got a soft spot for some of those dudes, which isn't a bad thing, by the way. Yeah, the D tackle thing's getting interesting because like someone asked about this earlier in the chat. A lot of the targets are starting to come off, but more ones are coming on because there's more guys going into the portal. Like there was a guy that I'm trying to confirm that he visited today. If I do, I'll post it on the site later today. But there was one that I think's actually a pretty big deal that I think was on campus today. That would be a big pickup for Tech. So they still need at least one more, and you'd like to take one more and maybe a younger guy that you try to develop, and then you feel like Shaimik can probably start playing 20 snaps a game, and then I think you're all right.
I think Michael means retiring, not returning for the wrong coach.
Alex is a big fan of their own coach.
I mean, he was good to me while I was at the paper. He won a lot of games, and they were always winning region championships. He's a really good coach. He's coached in, I think he's won a state championship, or he won. I think he won one in Indiana. I think he was in Tennessee for a while, and then he was at Rome for 10 years. I mean, I've been around Rome program my whole life. They had a really hard time when that school opened. When West Rome and East Rome came together, everybody was just thinking like in the 90s they were going to be a powerhouse because those two programs have won like 6 or 7 state championships. But it took a long time for Rome High School to like be a legit football program, and then Reed took it to the next level. He won 2 state championships, which they had never done. So he's put a great resume together, and I don't know if he's done coaching, but yeah, It's going to be a very coveted job in Northwest Georgia. I'll say that. I talked to the athletic director today, and he said he's already getting blown up like 2 days. He's had so many messages, emails, and stuff. So they're going to get plenty of good candidates. So you can win up here with the talent they have.
All right, Jeffrey and someone else asked about this in the chat. The numbers game. So the cap out is 105. As of today, if all the walk-ons were to come back, which I think 6 of them may not, you're at 102. There would be 3 more spots, but I think you have another 6 spots to play with. So so you got 9 up to 9 maybe. I don't know if Sam Turner actually entered the portal. I haven't kept up. I don't feel like he was someone that would recruit. He's not very fast, he's not tall and not fast, which is kind of he's just got really good hands. So it's kind of a rough combination for old Sam.
I think he was one of those that they had come out with an intent to enter the portal, and then he came to some agreement with Auburn to come back. So,
I don't understand this question. Oh, he's talking about
Markel
Edwin and Samuel. Sorry, my bad. I was forgetting about the kid that committed yesterday. I don't know. Did Edwin play at Auburn?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I think he's a developmental guy. I think he essentially replaces Peyton Joseph.
Oh yeah, well.
In your basically.
He didn't play football till his senior year of high school, so he's still very raw. He's a huge dude, but yeah, that's.
And then Markel Samuel will compete for the right tackle job. I think you're going to slide Carney to right guard, and Samuel will be one of the guys in the mix at right tackle. You'll have McKinney at left tackle. You'll have whatever they're going to do at left guard, Kevin P. or Riggs or whatever, or a portal guy or whatever they're doing there. At center, you'll have the Alabama kid or another portal guy. They're still recruiting a few more dudes. What was the Houston guy that was there yesterday? He was a tackle too, right?
Yeah, David Ndukwe.
Sorry, we're having trouble like remembering who like everybody is because it's like so crazy right now. Like so when like somebody jumps into the mix. So David Ndukwe or whatever, he played didn't play a lot this year, only played 2 games, but he had been a starter at left tackle at Houston. I guess he could play right or left. And Riggs only played left tackle.
And Riggs can play a little center too if you need him to. I guess that depends on the Jimmy Bryson health situation, like how much depth they need there. But Riggs was taking some reps at center toward the end of the season.
Yeah, Riggs can play all 5. He's the one guy who can legit play all 5 in a game if he had to. How does the staff feel about Petty? Why would you not recruit the best players you can? Petty can play left or right tackle. He hurt his knee in the bowl game. I don't even know what's going on with that. So I already talked about this. Go watch the top of the show, my man. They're going to be a 4-2-5 defense. That's what he's run pretty much everywhere he's been. It's the traditional college football defense. You'll have an edge, a defensive end, 2 tackles, 2 linebackers most of the time, a nickel that can kind of do a bunch of different things. His thing is played more with, which is how Tech's been playing at times, more with a traditional nose tackle. I guess that would be the one. If you look, that's what they're doing in the portal. Like the guy they got from both the tackles they brought in the portal, Vincent Jackson and Tafik, can play the nose. So yeah, that's kind of the main thing there. Go read my portal update from today. You'll find out who the blocking tight end is. It's in there. Go check out Jackets Online. You can get 50% off annual subscription today.
And Corbo's not a bad, like,
No,
he
he's
got,
fine. He's
yeah,
not like
he's got a good
insane.
blocking grade. I mean, he's got a whole lot more catches than what's his name?
And he had
Oh,
better blocking grades than the Tech tight ends this season. If you go just PFF goes at a lower level, but he was in the plus 70 in both this year.
Harpring was a surprise in the fact that they didn't have a lot of tight ends coming back, but he was a surprise. I mean, it wasn't a surprise as far as he was really tight with Bailey and Philo, and yeah, that part wasn't a surprise. But yeah, the part of not having very many tight ends and him kind of having a chance to be one of the main guys next year, that part was a surprise.
Yeah, I never even put Isaiah Horton out there as a possibility for Tech. And he was going to Texas or A&M, whichever one lost the Cam Coleman sweepstakes. So to A&M. Where is the money coming from for justice? Like, why do you guys think they have no money? They've spent 2 years like raising money for all of this stuff. Now that doesn't mean you can just wave your hand and make a guy sign with you. Like, people sign where they want to sign, but they're not. This ain't the Pittsburgh Pirates, man. Like, or the Miami Marlins. They're more akin to where the Braves are a bad example because the Braves have a crazy high payroll, don't they? Like, they're in the luxury tax, aren't they? Like on the edge of it because they have a lot of money committed.
Yeah, they get the contracts done early,
But they're so
but they're close.
if you looked at the P4, Georgia Tech would be in the top half of it in the NIL. If you were to look at it that way, the 64 teams or whatever it is, and Notre Dame, they would be in the top half of that. They have plenty of money, kids.
Money don't get you all the guys though. Like you said, you got to convince them to sign with you too. So
Yeah, top third of the ACC, top half of the P4. Those kind of go hand in hand. They ain't paying 2.6 million for a running back. That's upset Michigan people floating a number. I know I actually heard what the number is if it happens. Again, like nothing's happened yet. We'll see. We'll see if it goes down.
let me get some of these questions.
Brent thinks it's worth spending it on him. And if they're not going to, the portal quarterbacks were such a series of terrible options, basically. Like, I mean, Oregon's going to take Dylan Raiola. Like, what are we doing? Like, they're so bad like that because no one's developed a quarterback in like 3 years. Like, so there's no one to like go get anymore. Yeah, I thought the Braves were like top 5 in payroll or something. Like I'd seen that stat somewhere.
They've spent wisely the last 2 years. I'll say that instead of the previous years.
I mean, I think so. Like, no one really knows for sure. Like, the word on the street is that it's been Georgia Tech, but we'll see what's going on. I don't like everybody's panicked about Alabama. He left. That was an ugly situation when he left there. Like, they were pissed. And like their fans like crapped on him just like you guys did with like Philo and these dudes. Like that would shock me. Like if he were to go back to Alabama. Like also Alabama's pretty committed financially right now. Like you got to think they got to keep Austin Mack. They got to keep Keelan Russell. They've got to keep all. They were losing guys left and right, and they got to replace them with high level dudes. So we'll see what happens. The Georgia Tech Crimson Jackets or the Florida Yellow Gators? I kind of like the Florida Yellow Gators.
That would go with their yellow Gatorade. Let's see here.
I don't know what Florida's up to. I mean, I know they got Singleton the other day, which was funny because he complained so much about Buster's offense. He's going back to old Maggie's farm. My mom was calling me. Be back. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
I think
Go ahead.
I think Frazier is. I don't think he's holding. He's kind of holding Georgia hostage a little bit right now, from what I've read on the little bit of the Georgia message boards I've seen in the past few days. But they still think he's going to eventually be there. Him and Bowens are both coming back.
Yeah, that's what I've heard, that they're not going anywhere.
Just getting a little bump in the pay.
Let's go into the questions.
So there's a question about the edge position. So now with getting the two edge guys last night, are they done at the position or looking for another defensive end?
They're going to take another defensive end. They're going to take a bigger defensive end.
Yeah.
And then as far as so there's two positions. There's defensive end, which is they haven't had the body types for this, but that would be more of a Jordan Walker, the guy who just committed from Rutgers, or Christian Garrett, like a bigger, more physical body. And then they have the edge outside stand-up rush position, which would be more of the Noah Carter, Tajay McCoy from Oklahoma. And then guys on the team now would be like really Hoffler and Manley would be, but really a Montre Bradford and Dre Fuller would be the two. And then they brought in Woods and Willis as well. Willis probably ends up becoming a D end, I think, physically. He'll be a bigger dude.
All right.
Bigger than a triplet. Like they've wanted. Triplet was like basically just a bargain. He was like going out and signing like a utility infielder, like in baseball. You go back to the baseball analogies. He's like a guy that had some utility because he could play both end spots and was big enough to hope. He hoped to set the edge, but he really kind of didn't have a great year. Yeah. It's up to those guys if they want to play for what they're going to get offered to play. We'll see. Manley has just had shoulder surgery. I don't know that he's going to want to go anywhere. AJ Hoffler, I don't know. That was he really struggled like mightily. I like Jordan Boyd. I thought he was really effective at times. I thought they should have played him more. I don't know. If I were those two kids, the Hoffler and Manley, I would stay put and hope that you can figure it out. I think. Or go if you're Hoffler, maybe go down, but I don't know. They're still working on more defensive tackles. Like I said, they got two in. I think they'll take two more if they can get two more. There's one I feel good about that I'll do an update on later, and then there's probably going to be one or two other ones that kind of pop up here and there. There's still guys going in too.
Here's a good question. What has been the biggest surprise so far in the GT coaching and player carousel acquisition or a loss? I would say Mbakwe was a pretty nice
in
surprise.
terms of portal, that was surprising. Yeah.
That's the one that jumps out to me.
In terms of staff, I guess I'll talk about staff. I'm sort of still surprised that McKnight left. He came back and worked the bowl game, and Brent was trying to keep him, and it just didn't work out. And he took kind of a lesser job at Florida, which seems weird to me. So that one's strange.
Yeah.
Do I think they would entertain a bidding battle for Bula? No. I think Brent would rather go into next season with the young guys and Alberto Mendoza or whoever, like, instead of getting into it for my friend who's covered Missouri forever. You guys could probably figure out who it is. He said that he called him a poor man's Haynes King. That's what he called Perbola. Like, he just said he wasn't very good. And like, I don't know.
He played 2 years ago when they had when Penn State had what's the guy the guy that was in playoffs for him last year.
Oh, the Godsey stuff. I found out. I had a pretty good idea what was going to happen towards the end of December when he canned the two when he canned the two other interviews he was supposed to have, and I found out Corey didn't get it because I knew someone that Corey was going to try to bring on the staff with him. And when I found all that out, I kind of pieced together, and then I was in a state of denial about it because I knew how the board was going to react. But yes, that was a big deal.
Yeah, Drew Aller, Phillip. That's who I was talking about. Yeah, Perbula kind of came in as like their wildcat quarterback when he was there and ran it some, and
he ran well when he was at Penn State in that role.
He also went in the portal in the middle of the playoff last year. So
I mean, there is a very strong mercenary vibe by what's going on here. Like, and what's funny is every place he has visited immediately like signed a quarterback like the next day until he got to Tech, Tennessee, and Virginia the last 3 visits. Like everywhere else he went like immediately or signed a quarterback while he was visiting there, which is even crazier. That whole saga has been weird with him. I have no idea what that kid's gonna do. Like I really don't. It has a very like I'm a 1-year rental. This is how I'm approaching it. Is that bad? I don't know. Because maybe when he gets there, he's all bought in. Like I've heard people say he's a good kid. No one said he's a bad kid. I think you got to understand his situation. I don't think he's a prospect, and so this is it. His chance to he has like a lottery ticket he wants to cash in, right? So like, I don't blame him for that.
I don't know the strategy, but I'm assuming that if Georgia Tech is going to take a chance on a 1-year guy, they have to be very, very sure of it. And I don't know if any of the 1-year guys that have visited are they're very sure of so far. So if that's the case, then they might really roll into spring with Knowles and Adamson. If you're going to have that
and
1
Cole
year,
Bergeron.
yeah, if you're going to have that 1-year gap guy, you got to be 100% sure that he's good enough to, that he's worth what you're going to pay for him. So I don't know. We'll see. There's still 10 days left in the portal. So Lagway's situation's weird too. He committed to Baylor, but now he's saying he's still going to take visits and stuff. So that's a weird situation too.
I think Lagway's getting like 4, brother. I think you're way off on your guess on what Lagway's getting.
I've been very underwhelmed from the hype that he got to what he showed on the field at Florida. Like
he played really well against Ole Miss when they played them.
He played decently against Georgia this past year too. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The 5-star quarterbacks don't always work out. All right, let's see here. Here's a non-football question. What is your favorite thing to cook, grill, or smoke?
I like doing ribs on the smoker. Love doing a good steak on the grill.
I love a good bratwurst on the grill. That's my I cook those very, very often. I actually got my dad an Omaha Steaks thing for Christmas this year, so we had some fillets last weekend that were very good too. So
nice.
There.
I have no idea what Aaron Philo's final deal was. I'm sure it's over 2, which was I think 2.5 was the number I reported at the time, or 3. That's in that range.
Here's a music question for you. Did you ever see the Grateful Dead? And thoughts on Bob Weir's passing?
I did not. I'm not a Dead guy. I'm trying to think if I've seen any of them. No, I mean, I'm not a big jam band guy. Like the Allman Brothers is about as close as I got. Kind of like Humphreys, McGee, and trying to think if there's any other jammy bands. The only Dead songs I've liked have been covers that other people have done of some Dead songs. But I admired the guy. He's a great player. Like, I put it on the board, but I was like, I enjoy they used to wear like shorts and flip flops on stage when like everybody wore jeans or whatever. He was like, I want to be comfortable, so I'm wearing. He was wearing like jorts or like really short shorts and flip flops or Tevas or whatever. Like,
I don't know Billy Strings.
Billy Strings is awesome.
There's a guy on a podcast that listens to it, like goes to his shows, like a ton of them. So I don't know.
He just played in Atlanta with Widespread. I've seen Widespread. I never went to see Fish. My buddy tried to get me to go see Fish, but he tried to get me to go see the Dead. I was too young to see the actual Grateful Dead with Jerry. But yeah, no, I watched the document. The documentary is really good. I watched that. That was on Netflix. It was like Long Strange Trip or something like that. I think he like was behind mainly about the Dead. That was really interesting, even though I'm not into the music. So I'd suggest checking that out. Man, I lived in Athens. I grew up in Athens, went to school there. Like those dudes played there like every other month when I was in college. So I saw all those. I saw all those bands in that sort of realm. The Sound Tribe Sector 9 or the Humphreys McGee or the there were a bunch of those kind of bands that I saw back in the day.
The guy that I think he writes for ESPN now that did the Roll Tide War Eagle documentary or book or whatever. I don't know if he wrote a book about it or he did like a series of features on people, and he like followed around the Grateful Dead guy for like a year or two, and everybody said that one's really good. So that's something I've wanted to read. I've heard about it, but
My favorite grunge band. We're really getting off topic here. I'm a Pearl Jam guy. Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains. Those are my two favorites, and then adjacent to grunge would be like Stone Temple Pilots. I saw a lot of their legendary shows back in the day too. I've seen Pearl Jam like 15 times, something like that.
here's a question to get us back on football. How good?
Because they didn't want him. That's why Nycar. Like, dude, like understand something. If like they really wanted Nycar, he would be at Georgia Tech right now. Like they clearly didn't like the thing. 311. I know. I dated quite a few chicks who were into 311 back in the day.
All right, here's a football question. How good do you feel about the OL next year on a scale of 1 to 10? Well, I mean, we got to see how it ends up with the portal first, but I don't know, somewhere 6 to 7. I would think there's still a lot to prove. Losing Rutledge is a big deal. I mean, he's been the most consistent for the last 2 years. I mean, they've got pieces now that can compete, so I don't know. We're gonna know this spring.
So now we're under stuff that I actually want to talk about, man. Like, yeah, Alice in Chains, awesome. I have somewhere in here maybe. I have a set list that Jerry Cantrell gave me from when I saw his band, like before they turned it back into Alice in Chains when they relaunched. So that was cool. What's the hardest band we listen to? We got, I mean, for me, probably like I don't listen to a lot of newer music, so probably like Tool or like Rage Against the Machine.
I don't even know what to answer. My answer to be.
I've seen 9 Inch Nails. Yeah, I like 9 Inch Nails. I used to work. Yeah, I think you guys realize this. Maybe I haven't talked about this. I worked for when I worked in the music business, I worked for a company that represented Metal Blade Records and like all these. And we had all these death metal bands and like Cattle Decapitation and like Opeth and like I've been to a lot of very hard shows. I was on tour as a roadie with Mudvayne briefly. So there you go. Brown listens to like 80s hard rock and country and stuff like that. He's a big Buffett guy.
Corn, Slipknot, man.
I was backstage at the Metallica Limp Bizkit what was it? It was the Summer Sanitarium tour, I think it was called. It was at Turner Field. Mudvayne was playing, so we had passes, and it was like Metallica, Limp Bizkit. I'm trying to remember who the third band was. Might have been Linkin Park or something like that.
POD.
I've seen a lot of these bands back in the day.
Yeah, I'm not a big Slipknot guy. I don't. I'm not as big of a country guy as people think I am either. So
I think it's the accent. I assumed you're a country guy too, man.
I listen
I
to
was
pretty
shocked
much
when you told me you
everything.
weren't.
I do about everything. Classic rock. I do some rap. You know, hit it
He's
all.
into the hardcore gangster rap.
I just gotta keep up with what the kids are posting on Instagram on those. Yeah, I love Coldplay after the third quarter. That really got me going for the fourth. I'm glad we got rid of that.
That I will give you guys credit. That is maybe the biggest thing that y'all have been able to actually change through complaining as audibly as humanly possible about it, like on social media, on JOL, everywhere else. Is the how much y'all hated that.
You can make a change if you complain enough. You can get
Maybe
change.
that's what threw the season off, man. That might have been like what it was. That was like the turning point when they got rid of the Coldplay song.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember exactly when Brent Jones announced that they were changing it, but it was right around the time it was right around the start of November when the season kind of went off the rails. So maybe they need to bring Coldplay back. Let's see here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like yes, it is. I never forget when the Coldplay stopped playing. I like me like elbowed Alex. I was like, we were like, oh my god, this thing, because I think it had been the week after we made fun of it on here, and like I think you had even something like in your name thing that was making fun of the Coldplay song.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been monitored from. I mean, they had a guy when I covered UGA back in 05, 06, 07. They had a guy. They had like two people who just read our message board all day at UGA. So like, yeah, there's people monitoring everything. Because I'll get texts when you guys like go do something real crazy. Like I'll get a text about something, or if somebody's really wrong about saying, "Oh, this is happening" or something. I'll usually get a text from somebody down there. Hey, this is what's really going on, or you can tell people this or whatever. If there's confusion on something, or if I'm off a little bit on what I heard.
I don't know for a fact on the all the way turned up thing, but I will have a theory that they didn't use that as much after Amari got hurt, and he was the main guy on that. So that might have had something to do with they didn't use as much as I think people were thinking they were going to when they filmed that throwback. All right, let's see here. Here's a question about Semore. Do you think the plan is to still bring in an old head on defensive staff with DC experience, kind of as a mentor?
Yes, I think I know who it is. I don't think the hire is actually official yet, so it's being lined up. It will be a little different just because of Jason, but yeah, they're bringing in a guy to the plan had been, even if Blake had done well, they wanted to bring in an older guy to help kind of be a mentor. And it's not Jeremy Pruitt. Jeremy Pruitt can't get through I think Brent realized that was a bad idea, and I don't think they can get it through the old show cause lawsuit thing. It's the same person if it was Blake. But I'm just waiting to see when I can share more about it. Like for real, I don't think the guy's actually been hired yet. Like they have to create a position and all that stuff. So Somewhat.
There,
Why do people think a guy's going to leave the NFL to come be like a analyst and make a tenth of the money at Georgia Tech? Y'all won't guess this one, so it's fine. Like, you don't bother. I wouldn't have guessed it.
Bill Belichick.
Nah, he's busy with Jordan, doing whatever they do.
There's a
Going to
question about
cheerleading. What is it? Is it adult cheerleading events?
adult
or
cheerleading competitions. Yeah, adult cheerleading. There's a question about receivers coach and running back if he was doing both. No, Jimmy Smith's not going to do both. He was the only reason he was the guy that was tagged in the offers the other day because he was the guy that was actually out doing the offers. I know they were at Kell the other day. That was 2 or 3 that were announced there, or re-offers. And Jimmy Smith was the guy that was there. But no, he's not going to be the running backs and receivers coach.
Weird Frazier's going back to Georgia. Oh, Billy Gonzalez, the wide receivers coach. I mean, I've thought he's the fallback option, but they haven't hired him yet. So Alabama, he can coach in the state of Alabama. That ruling doesn't apply apparently to other states. So that's why he's at Jacksonville State, which is in Alabama, not Jacksonville, Florida. He's able to coach there. And he can have no contact with recruits. He's siloed in his position there. So that's what's going on. Anything else really interesting in the
Here's a basketball question. What does Alpert need to do to spur basketball investment, or is it just a pipe dream until the next wave of conference realignment?
So you have $4 or $5 million. I think if you had $4 or $5 million, you can make some things happen.
I mean, you got to have a positive direction for the basketball program to get some investment going right now, and it's a struggle. I mean, we're still early in the ACC schedule, though, so you can always turn it around.
So the injunction against Pruitt is being appealed as well right now. So that appeal hasn't been heard. Like, y'all can want Jeremy Pruitt as much as you want. Like, that's not going to happen until he's like cleared out. If it does, then. And I imagine if he suddenly became available in the market, there would be a little bit of a gold rush of people. He's a good defense coordinator. But also, that's a lot of old white guy energy with Brent and Goose and Jeremy Pruitt in a room, follically challenged, intense white guys, and Winky. That's a lot. A lot of old white guy energy. I say that as an old white guy, an aspiring old white guy. They still got a few years on me.
And even more on me.
Why does everyone assume that was a donor or whatever? Like y'all are overthinking all this stuff. Yeah, you guys need to go check out Georgia Tech baseball. Alex is going down. It'll do Monday. They'll do their first media thing.
Yeah, first official practice.
Or I guess that's tomorrow, right?
Yeah, tomorrow.
I'm all screwed up. Tomorrow. That reminds me of ACC teleconference to do.
Yeah, tomorrow we're doing preseason baseball media. We get to talk to Drew and Von Lackey and Ramsey, and we get to watch some of the first official practice. So it should be fun for the number 2 ranked Georgia Tech baseball team. Pretty high expectations there.
I can tell you I did not bankroll old Justice. They have not hired a receivers coach.
Here's
that came straight from like Nikar even said like they were in the process of hiring the receivers coach off of it. He told me that 2 days ago.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Here's a question from the board. How are you feeling overall about the transfer portal class right now? And what questions should we be asking that we're not? I mean, I feel good about the portal class to this point. There's still holes to be filled, linebacker and really linebacker, receiver need one more legit guy there, but they're in a good spot right now. They just got to keep adding the next 10 days because there's a whole lot of spots on the roster that need to be filled before the spring.
I concur. They're still working on the D line, but I think they've done a really good job. They got 2 starters at defensive tackle. They got a starting defensive end. They got some depth pieces coming. They got guys who could start or push the guys there, which is something that's been missing for a long time. So I think they're in a good spot. I like the offensive line build so far. The tight end room looks good. Running backs room looks good even without Justice. He's a diamond on top if you can get that. And he stays healthy. And special teams looks good. They added a snapper and a punter, which is what you're looking for there. I think they've done a good job so far. You've got to figure out what your QB plan is. With the defensive back thing, you have Mbakwe who can play both ways. I think they're actually okay there. You signed 3 young corners. You have Penson and Elgin Sessions who are going to play or were on teams or starting to play. Tay Harris. They've got young Savion Riley back healthy for a year. They've got some dudes. They just need maybe one safety and maybe one over corner if they can find one that would make sense. I don't know how to answer your questions about. Y'all have all these conspiracy theories about what happened with Justice Haynes. Like, I think Brett Key wants that dude. He wants a bell cow running back. I think that's where it begins and ends. Brent Key's not going to take some dude because a booster asked him to. Like, y'all are out of your freaking minds. Like, that just isn't how any of this works. Tajay leaving sucks. Maybe he comes back out of the portal. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I think it's an opportunity to maybe go get somebody that that Jason really likes, and they'll have time to do that over the next few weeks. How are the other ACC teams doing in the portal? I have not looked at.
That's why I was trying to look up rankings right now. Trying to find the portal rankings.
Well, so it's a little screwed up because not everyone's portal guys are ranked either. So, like, it's a little funky. Industry team recruiting rankings. That's all.
I looked at it yesterday. I can't remember. I can't.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. It took me to high school, not.
Yes, that's what I was.
There was this is not very entertaining for you guys. We're almost about done for the night, to be honest.
Here's a question: does the basketball team get any consults from the football strength and conditioning staff, or completely separate? They're separate training staffs. I'm sure they talk to each other once in a while, but yeah, they have separate training conditioning staffs and go by different plans.
So there's let's see if I can sort this. Yep. All right. So Georgia Tech is 7th right now in the ACC, but one of the guys doesn't count that should count. That would move them up. If he counts, that moves him up to probably 5th. So we'll see.
Let's see. Look through here.
It's funny. I just got a text from the person that created the donor rumor saying that it was his rumor that he started just guessing. So there you guys go on that. But yeah, I think we're about wrapped up, man. Is there anything else on the site that's worth jumping into?
Going to page 2. Let's see if there's any questions that jump off the page at me. Oh, here's one. Is Coach Bohannon sticking around as an analyst or getting looks from on-field positions?
As far as I know, Brian's sticking around. He turned down an opportunity to coach in the FCS as a head coach. So as far as I know, Brian's sticking around. I think he's very happy living in Atlanta. He has a good situation. Brent is treating him right. I don't know. Don't know why. That's a question I'll ask Brent when we finally talk to him on the record, or even Gotsey. Was there any particular reason why they chose to do that? Would Justice be the most heralded player? That's an interesting question. I don't know. Antonius Clayton, right? Wasn't he unblockable, right? That's what Cooper said about him.
As far as portal guys, yeah, I mean, he would be the biggest portal guy they've gotten.
Yeah, I don't think we have him ranked yet. So in the portal, there'll probably be like, I imagine they're getting ready to do another big update on Monday or Tuesday.
There's a couple. There's a couple questions about the dead period during the middle of the portal. We talked about that earlier. They're having coaches convention and they needed.
Yeah, they had to do that so people could get jobs.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Might be the good one to wrap up on. Next year will be year four of a father-son road game for him and his son. It was Ole Miss 23, Louisville, and 24 in Colorado this past season. What game should they do next fall?
Let me look.
That's why I was looking at the future.
I was thinking Clemson. I think Clemson's on it if he's not been there. That's not much of a road trip though. If they live in Atlanta. Clemson's the best road game out of the ones they have. Did he say they've done Virginia Tech?
No.
I would go to Virginia Tech or I go out to Stanford because it's a fun trip. It's expensive. Pitt is not worth going to. I mean, Pitt's fine, but it's not like the environment's not great because it's a pro stadium that's always like half full.
That's what I was going to say. Virginia Tech would be a nice.
Virginia Tech's probably the best one, especially if he has them. Like they'll probably be drawing well just because of Franklin. There's some excitement. They always draw well, anyways. Stanford will be like the crappiest environment probably because it's gonna be like Duke probably, but like, Clemson and VT are the two best like environments to go to. Clemson, there's not much there like other than because it's the few places they have are so packed on a game day, it's almost impossible to actually like really go in and do anything. Because the college town aspect of it's not tremendously large. But the environment's cool. Virginia Tech's probably one of the best, especially for the night game.
I've never been to Clemson football game.
I get to go this year, I'm sure.
It might be, yeah. I could do that. Do a little Clemson
I
basketball.
realized I forgot to tweet the stupid thing to tell people to watch the show, so that's awesome.
I was waiting to retweet it there.
Sorry. I thought I did.
What was I looking at over here? Yeah, you can do the road trip to Georgia. That's a short one. The question from Tyrus about where the commitment news comes from, it just kind of depends on the kid. Sometimes the kid tells us. Sometimes it comes out through the agent to the bigger guys, like we were talking about earlier with Pete and Fawcett and Zenitz.
So here's the other thing too, and you guys got to think about this. Like when we're dealing with a high school recruit, typically you build a relationship over the course of a year or whatever. 6 months, 6 weeks, you have a time period to build a relationship with a kid. When you're talking about a portal kid, they've been through all of this before, and you may not have a relationship. Now, some of these guys we did, and it's easier to, so like Nike Hart, I had talked to before, so I just texted him and was able to get him talking, or like some of these other dudes. But other ones I don't, like, it just really depends. So that's harder too, and it's easier for the national guys because they all read their stuff all the time. They're not sitting there looking at. If you're playing at Baylor or something, you've never heard of me. You know what I mean? Like, or Alex or whoever else in the market, Chad, whoever. Like the chances of and even who we are pretty slim. So that would also factor into that. I don't think Brent would ever schedule the academies like as a non-conference. I don't think that's a risk reward. I concur with your thoughts there.
That's pretty much it on the board. There's a question about how would you handle next year's NIL for basketball if no substantial improvements from Bidongo and Mosilla? I don't know. It's going to depend on how the coaching staff looks next year. And I guess if Mosilla comes back, because he had gotten some hype as a 1 year guy before. I don't know if that's still the same right now. I hadn't looked at mock drafts lately, but
Yeah, hands are
he hadn't helped his stock. Just ought to say that.
he's been hurt a lot.
Yeah.
How many player phone numbers I have on my phone? Well, if I were to type in like Mike or something, it's going to pull up like 15 players. Put it that way. Like I have the same, so I've been smart about, I've done this since like the smartphones really got going, my first iPhone or whatever. And I've had different other phones too. But, I think at one point we guesstimated there might be like 800 players in it and probably another 300 coaches, like high school and college. Appreciate everyone for joining us tonight. That's a weird note to kind of end on. Someone asked about another blue chip guy. Anything's possible right now. They have some money to play with, so you don't know. I don't know who's getting booted out or not, or who's going to try to be poached, or still be surprised as they leave Georgia Tech. You just never know. Like with the portal, it is. It's like that jelly bean, like in like a pack of the weird jelly beans where they'll have like one that tastes like farts or something. Like there's a bunch that taste good, and then there's gonna be one that might be a stinker, and you don't know what you're gonna get. That's what the portal's like. It's like spinning the Wheel of Fortune thing. You could hit bankrupt, or you could win $500 or whatever it is.
It's like going to Murphy, North Carolina for me. Sometimes you lose all your money like you do 99% of the time. Sometimes you come back with $1 in your pocket.
Alex getting swindled by some lady with her oxygen tank on one of those rascal scooters. Chain smoking Marlboro Reds. Just swindling him. Any reason why kids go in now and tampering? Just depends. Sometimes some of the kids are going in because the school they're at got somebody better and are cutting them too. That's some of these guys that are going in from some of these big name schools. I think that's what it is with some of them. Some of them are going in because they're getting poached, but some are going in because they got told, hey, we're going to offer you like 1/10 of the money to come back next year because they want them to leave. So there's a lot of fun stuff going on. It's terrible for everyone involved, basically. That's what you're just trying to survive. But everyone just be patient. We'll see. Should have an idea in about 1 to 5 days what the roster is going to look like. Pretty good idea. And then there will still be maybe a few people you can add here or there that are in the portal that don't enroll for spring, or if you're, I guess, winter quarter, if you're in a quarter system. There's a couple schools out west in that. So appreciate everybody for joining us. Alex will be doing some baseball and basketball duties this week. I'll be on daddy and portal duty, and we'll start doing stuff like projected depth charts. I have a whole list of post-portal content features that we're getting ready for JOL. So I thought about my flights on this weekend, kind of some different things to work on for between now and spring ball. So appreciate everybody for joining us. Any final words, Alex?
No, it's the same. I've got review and forecast for receivers and offensive lines still to do once we figure out what
who those people are.
What they're going to look like. And, doing baseball media tomorrow. I'll be there Wednesday for Georgia Tech and Pitt basketball. I'm sure it'll be a rowdy crowd at McCamish. So, it should be a fun week. Lots of portal stuff still to work out. So, it's always busy.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Tell your friends. Tell them to subscribe to Jackets Online if you're not on already. Join in. Check out my Twitter X page, and you'll see various links to the promo that we're running, or just go to the site. It's on there now. It's 50% off an annual subscription. Great deal. Worth every penny, and you get to see people have crazy melts and people provide interesting commentary. So thanks, everybody. Good night, and good luck to the Jackets and their hunting in the portal.